It was part press conference, part performance art, as President Trump went on an epic offensive today, insulting the press for what he calls fake news, denying any chaos or wrongdoing in his administration, instead pointing fingers at the intelligence community, vowing to investigate illegal leaks of classified information. ABC's David Wright asks, was he on point or out of bounds?
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Today, the presidential press conference, that august American tradition.
Quiet, quiet, quiet.
Entered the era of Trump.
It's all fake news. It's all fake news.
President Trump didn't so much confer with reporters.
Where are you from?
BBC.
Okay. Here's another beauty.
It's a good line. Impartial, free and fair.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. President.
Just like CNN, right?
He made it crystal clear he views them with contempt.
Tomorrow they will say, Donald Trump rants and raves at the press. I'm not ranting and raving. I'm just telling you, you're dishonest people. But, I'm not ranting and raving. I love this. I'm having a good time doing it.
Trump took on the perception his administration is off to a rocky start and blamed the messenger.
I turn on the TV, open the newspapers, and I see stories of chaos. Chaos. Yet it is the exact opposite. This administration is running like a fine-tuned machine.
If anyone doesn't believe that, it's the news media's fault, not his, according to Trump.
The media is trying to attack our administration because they know we are following through on pledges that we made, and they're not happy about it for whatever reason.
Was this Donald Trump unleashed or Donald Trump unhinged?
I think it was a bit of both. I think that it was a look inside the mind of the president just less than 4 weeks into the administration.
Asked repeatedly about whether any campaign officials or advisors had spoken to the Russians, even after U.S. intelligence agencies accused Russia of meddling in the election.
Russia is a ruse. I have nothing to do with Russia. Haven't made a phone call to Russia in years. Don't speak to people from Russia. Not that I wouldn't, I just have nobody to speak to.
Trump would not give an inch.
Russia is fake news. This is fake news put out by the media.
As for the national security advisor Trump fired this week after he was exposed misrepresenting a conversation he'd had with Russian ambassador and misleading Mike Pence about it, the president tried to have it both ways.
Yes, John.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to get you to clarify, because it's a very important point. Can you say definitively that nobody on your campaign had any contacts with the Russians during the campaign? And on the leaks, is it fake news or are these real leaks?
Well, the leaks are real. You're the one that wrote about them and reported them. I mean, the leaks are real. You know what they said. You saw it. And the leaks are absolutely real. The news is fake, because so much of the news is fake.
Trump insisted General Mike Flynn's real sin wasn't that he reached out to the Russians.
Mike Flynn is a fine person, and I asked for his resignation. He respectfully gave it.
But that he didn't tell the vice president the truth about what was discussed.
He was just doing his job. The thing is, he didn't tell our vice president properly, and then he said he didn't remember. So either way, it wasn't very satisfactory to me.
And he insisted the leaks that exposed Flynn's dishonesty are the real problem.
What was wrong was the way that other people, including yourselves in this room, were given that information. Because that was classified information that was given illegally. That's the real problem.
I don't understand how any of his supporters, or anyone in Congress for that matter, can turn a blind eye to these accusations and intel from our intelligence community, talking about the connection between Russia and the Trump campaign.
Another major headline to emerge from the press conference had to do with Trump's targeted travel ban. The president now says he'll issue a brand new order as early as next week.
We have some of the best lawyers in the country working on it. And the new executive order is being tailored to the decision we got down from the court. Okay?
Trump refused to take any blame for the chaos at America's airports after the rollout of that first order, or the constitutional objections raised by the courts.
We had a bad court. We had a court that gave us what I consider to be, with great respect, a very bad decision. Very bad for the safety and security of our country. The rollout was perfect.
On immigration, Trump signaled he's open to allowing the so-called dreamers to stay. Young men and women brought here illegally as children, most of whom have broken no laws, but now face the threat of deportation.
DACA is a very, very difficult subject for me, I will tell you. To me, it's one of the most difficult subjects I have, because you have these incredible kids, in many cases, not in all cases. In some of the cases, they're having DACA and they're gang members and they're drug dealers, too.
DACA is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, an Obama administration policy designed to protect those kids from deportation.
You know, I love these kids. I love kids. I have kids and grandkids. And I find it very, very hard doing what the law says exactly to do.
Trump was also asked about his promises to improve life in the inner cities.
Mr. President, I need to find out from you. You said something as it relates to inner cities. That was one of your platforms during your campaign. Now
Fix the inner cities.
Reporter April Ryan pressed him for details.
When you say the inner cities, are you gonna include the CBC, Mr. President, in your conversations with your urban agenda, your inner city agenda, as well as?
Am I going to include?
Are you going to include the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional Hispanic
Well, I would.
Caucus,
I tell you what. Do you want to set up the meeting? Do you want to set up the meeting?
No.
Are they friends of yours?
I'm just a reporter.
No, set up the meeting.
I know some of them, but I'm sure
Let's
they're
go set up
right
a
now.
meeting. I would love to meet with the Black Caucus. I think it's great.
What he said to April Ryan, who is a 20-year veteran reporter of the White House, was essentially all black people know each other. I think we all heard that, we all understand that, but most importantly, Donald Trump time and time again has kind of told us that's kind of how he thinks.
On Capitol Hill, ABC's Mary Bruce tracked down a member of the Black Caucus who raised an eyebrow.
Because there was a black woman in the room, the assumption was that some way, somehow, in spite of the fact that she was a reporter, she had some kind of unique contact with the Congressional Black Caucus.
You don't think he would have asked another reporter to set up a meeting like that?
Well, I don't think that he would have asked you to set up the meeting.
Are you a friendly reporter? Watch how friendly he is.
One of many awkward moments in this 80-minute free-for-all.
That was unlike any presidential news conference I have ever seen.
I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
Back and forth, aggressive, contentious. He called on 17 different reporters. Suddenly, no holds barred.
Well, not too many, we do have other people.
He seemed to most relish and enjoy fighting with reporters on tough questions.
And I'd be a pretty good reporter, not as good as you.
And yet, we weren't expecting a press conference today, were we? Did I miss the memo?
No, we weren't.
Reporters had been summoned to the East Room of the White House, expecting to hear about Trump's new pick for labor secretary, replacing the fast food executive who withdrew yesterday in the wake of a scandal. The new nominee, Alexander Acosta, a professor and dean at the Florida International University Law School. He wasn't even in the room.
I think he'll be a tremendous Secretary of Labor.
Even if Trump didn't manage to change the subject, at least he framed the subject in his own terms. It's unclear how it'll play with the voters. As for the president's prediction,
tomorrow they will say, Donald Trump rants and raves at the press.
The cover of tomorrow's New York Post says it all, the wildest show on earth. Today, not so much a press conference, but a media circus. I'm David Wright for Nightline in New York.